Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Girl Take Note. Of course, it's me, Shaunie, and I'm coming to you with another solo episodes. As always, I love my solo episodes. But today I want to talk about something that I know we all struggle with from time to time. And I know I'm struggling with this right now. And I think a lot of this happens during this time of the year, during the holiday season, where you just feel motivated. You don't feel motivated. You feel like you're stuck. So whether it's in your personal lives or careers or maybe even creative pursuits, I feel like we all hit that wall where we feel like we're spinning our wheels and just getting absolutely nowhere. And so if this sounds familiar to you, then guess what? You're you're in for a treat today because we're going to talk about it. Because if you're not ahead, then I want you to know that you are not alone. And more importantly, you can break through that feeling stuck. And in this episode, I'm going to share my personal tips and strategies on how to find just motivation again when you're feeling like you're at a standstill. This is Girl Take Note, a podcast for women who are looking to turn their dreams into reality. And I know 100% all about this because I have been feeling like this myself. And so every time I feel like I do a solo episode, it's always coming from my personal feelings, right? I told you guys, this is like my personal diary when we're doing these solo episodes where I'm really able to express how I'm feeling, things that I've gone through that I haven't really shared publicly. But especially around this time of the year, I feel like a lot of us feel like stuck, right? Feel like we're not motivated. We're getting closer towards the end of the year. The new year is coming. We're thinking about what we want to accomplish for 2025. And it's just that thing of like, how do we do it? How do I get out of this feeling where I'm just so stuck? So when you feel stuck, first, let's talk about why we get stuck. Feeling unmotivated or stuck can come from several places. Different places. Sometimes it's burnout. Other times it's because we just don't see progress fast enough. Or maybe we hit an unexpected roadblock. And I've personally experienced this in my own life, in my business, in my own ways of thinking where I just feel stuck. At one point, I got to a place where I felt like, what am I doing exactly? Right? I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing all these different things. I'm building this brand, but is it really moving the way I want it to? Is it at a standstill where I'm not seeing the progression that I want to see? And when we feel like we're not moving, that's when we get completely unmotivated. We don't want to take a step. But at the same time, for me personally, I didn't want to take a step, but I also felt afraid not to stand still. I felt afraid to stand still because I felt like if I stand still, then what am I going to do? How things are actually going to move if I don't actually start doing something. And so taking little mini steps towards certain things began to pull me out of that place. But I understand this feeling so much because although I feel like the podcast is moving in a very good direction, some things personally in my life I'm feeling stuck in. And I really need to assess on, why am I feeling stuck? Where's this coming from? Why am I not seeing the progress? But I can tell you what I learned from the experience with the podcast is that the first step to getting out of a rut is first you have to recognize that you're feeling stuck in the first place. Because sometimes we don't even want to admit that this is where we are, right? We have to recognize that, okay, I'm stuck. I mean, at one point, I was on the phone with a friend, and because I'm going through some stuff personally, I said to them, I said, wow, I mean, am I going through a midlife crisis? Because as you guys know, I talk about this all the time. I'm about to be 50. So what am I feeling? What is these feelings that I'm feeling right now? And I'm feeling stuck in a certain place. And then you have to ask yourself, are you mentally exhausted? Are your expectations too high? Or do you just need to kind of like change your approach? And I think once you pinpoint the cause, it's easier to tackle it head on. But we have to know where it comes from. We have to acknowledge that you're even feeling that way. And I know sometimes we get so prideful, and you have to set your pride aside where it doesn't matter if people know you're feeling stuck. It's just you have to recognize it for yourself. It might be a nervous feeling. It might be anxious. You might feel some anxiety. And all of that is because you're feeling stuck somewhere in your life. It could be your entrepreneurship journey. It could be your career. You're trying to move up your career ladder. You don't know where to go. You feel stuck in this position. Or it could be personally. You might feel stuck in a relationship. You might feel stuck in life overall, where you're like, what's the next step for me? What do I do from here? And so that's that feeling where it's like we have to recognize one that is just there. And we have to figure out, okay, so why am I feeling this way? What is not working for me? And I feel like with that part, you want to take your time with it. Don't rush through it. Just take your time and be present. Because sometimes with social media and everything's moving so fast, we're not present sometimes in our lives where we can recognize why we're feeling certain ways. Or either we can seek therapy, right, to help us kind of like work through what that may be. And that can help us recognize what that stuck feeling is. And I know for me with the podcast, it was just like, I'm not moving in the right direction. I'm not seeing the monetization, the consistency with monetizing. I'm not seeing the growth that I want to see. And I think for me, what I recognize is that you have to stop looking at other podcasters who are out there who have been doing it a lot longer than you, and stop comparing yourself, or stop thinking that that's where you need to be. Everything on social media isn't real, right? So I had to not look at what somebody else was doing, and I had to pay attention to my own podcast and understand, okay, what am I not doing? Or either what am I not doing enough of? And there were steps that I just was not taking. And I think once we step back and figure out the why, recognize we're feeling that way, and then figure out the why, that's when we can begin to tackle on how to resolve it. And I also feel like we have to do like small leads, small wins, that is, lead to big motivation. So one of the biggest lessons I've learned is that the power of small wins. When you feel stuck, it often is because we're looking at the big picture and feeling overwhelmed. And that is exactly what I was doing, right? I was just looking at the overall big picture like, oh my God, this is where I should be. And then I start feeling overwhelmed because I'm not there. But instead of focusing on that end goal, I think we just have to break it down into smaller, more manageable tasks. Like, for example, if you're trying to write a book and you feel unmotivated because it's just such a huge project, then focus on writing just 500 words a day. Those small wins like that can add up, and eventually you'll look back and realize just how far you come. You'll say to yourself, oh my God, I already wrote like 10 chapters, right? So progress, no matter what, no matter how small progress is, it's still progress. That's just it. It doesn't matter what road you take or how many steps you take to get there. It's still steps taken. And I think that's what's so important, is that we look at this big picture. Like I said, it's towards the end of the year and we're saying to ourselves, oh my God, I didn't even accomplish half the things that I thought I would accomplish. And we're just thinking to ourselves, like, what happened? Why didn't it happen for me? But I think if we continue to take those small steps towards what we need, then we'll realize that everything we needed to do, it's already happening. The steps we're taking, are small as they may be, as minute as they may be, are still steps towards what you're trying to do. And I think that's important. I think that's super important to remember. Now, let's talk about routine, because I think routine plays a lot into how motivated we are and helping us not feel stuck, because routine has played such a big purpose in my life. And motivation is fleeting, right? It can come and go, right? What really keeps you moving forward is discipline and routine. And I found that even on days when I don't feel like doing anything, and trust me, I have many of those days, you guys just don't know. But having that routine pushes me to take action. Like every morning, I'm going to get up, I'm going to work out. From when I'm done working out, I'm going to go take my shower. I'm going to have my morning coffee. I'm going to sit at my computer. I'm going to check my emails. I'm going to look at my daily tasks. So it's like, for me, I'm such a regimented kind of person. So having a routine really does put me back into my motivated space. If I didn't have a morning routine, if I didn't have a routine at all throughout my day, I really would just kind of be out here just, like throwing spaghetti against the wall, right? Hoping something sticks. And so having a routine can really motivate you. And for me, it's as simple as starting my day, like I said, with a clear, structured plan. Making sure that my morning routine is something that I continuously do. Getting up in the mornings, like I said. And also, I spend time meditating. I spend time in reflection at some point in the morning, because as early as I can get up and before the house wakes up, before everybody starts hustling, busting, and people need to go here, get dropped off there, it's important to have that time for yourself. And having that structure means that Even when motivation is low, I'm still moving forward. So even if you're feeling stuck, consider, I guess, tweaking your routine or either implementing a routine. And maybe you need to change, or if you have a routine, maybe you need to change the time you start working on your goals or introduce new habits you think that will help you stay on track. But if you don't have a morning routine, I highly suggest you get one. I highly suggest you get yourself a morning routine because it does help you stay motivated. It helps you see small progress. It really do. And I think that's something that is super important. You know, sometimes the answer to feeling stuck is also just taking a break. And I know it sounds counterproductive, right? But I just want you guys to hear me out. We live in a culture that's always about the hustle and bustle. And sometimes we forget that rest is essential for long-term success. And I'm telling you, because people will tell you, oh, sleep when you're dead, sleep when you're dead. No. You need to recharge. Feeling stuck sometimes is really just moving away from the desk, moving from the desk at work, going and take a short walk, right? Sometimes just taking a break, stepping away from social media, stepping away from all the hustle and bustle, and really giving your chance an opportunity to just sit still for a moment and just focus on nothing else but just relaxation. And that can be, like I said, walking, that could be working out, that could be sitting on the couch, getting a glass of wine and watching your favorite, I don't know, reality show, right? Or your favorite sitcom or whatever it may be. Get into a good movie or something that kind of takes your mind off whatever it is that you're feeling stuck about. Something that takes your mind off whatever it is you're feeling that you just can't get past. When I feel stuck and completely unmotivated, I realized that what I really needed was a break. Because I'm one of those people that I will keep going and going and going. Like I told you guys before, like I felt like if I don't move, then I'm not progress, right? I'm not doing any type of progress if I'm not moving. But then I had to say, Shaunie, you know what? You need to take a break. It's okay to pull back, to even take a day and say, you know what? I'm not doing anything today. And I'm just going to focus. I'm going to get my mind in a better place, right? I'm just going to focus. I'm going to listen to an audiobook. I'm going to sit on the couch and watch something that I really wanted to watch, a documentary or whatever it may be. You know, after giving myself permission to step away for just a bit, I feel like I came back with renewed energy and a fresh perspective. So I feel like taking a break really does help. So if you've been on that like grinding nonstop, trust me, I know there, but it might be time to pause, recharge, and come back stronger. Don't look at it as you're not being like progressive, right? You're not progressing. Don't look at it as something that you're stagnant. No, being able to step back sometime really does help your mental health. Physically, it helps you. This is like people who work out all the time, and people who are avid on working out, they're also very avid about rest. They will tell you all the time, like, listen, you got to recharge. You got to drink your water. You got to get your rest. You got to let your body recharge. You don't want to go hard in the gym for 3 hours and next thing you know, go hard again. You got to give your body time to rest, those muscles to recharge. And so everything in life is about a recharge. Everything is. It's okay to take those breaks. That's why a lot of times we see people take those mental health breaks because they need to take time to themselves. They need to find time to really refocus and regain their energy and regain some type of motivation. And being able to take that break really does give them that opportunity to do so. And I think we need to, I just think we need more of that because we're such in this grind. Go, go, go. I'm on the go. People take so much pride in being busy. People take so much pride in it. People take so much pride in being busy. Oh, I'm so busy. I'm busy. I'm booked and busy. I'm booked and busy. I'm booked. I'm busy, but also I get my rest. Also, I prioritize being able to recharge. And so that's important. And also, your environment is important. Have you ever noticed how your environment can affect your energy and motivation? You know what I mean? Because if you're in a space where it's cluttered, where it's like stuff all over the place, where it's not clean, that will really put you in a stuck place. And so sometimes feeling stuck can be as simple as being in the wrong environment. And if you're always working in the same place, doing the same routine, you might want to try changing it up a little bit. Maybe getting outside instead of working out in the house. Maybe it's working in a coffee shop for a few hours, going for a walk outside or when you need a mental rest, right? I've personally found that getting outside, because I like to take morning walks too, getting outside or even maybe rearranging my workspace or cleaning my workspace or reset can give me a whole new outlook. It really can. And then being able to go work somewhere else. I don't know what it is about taking your computer, going to like a Starbucks or whatever coffee shop is around you, or maybe even sitting outside, right? It really does give you just a different perspective on your work. It motivates you a little bit more just to be in a different environment. And it's so crazy how environment can play such a huge part. Environment and the people we're around can play such a huge part in our entrepreneur journey, right? And it just, even in your life journey, it can play such a huge part. So maybe switching up the environment sometimes will help you kind of get out of that not feeling motivated mood. So we really have to think about, where else can I work? Maybe I won't work in my same workspace. Maybe I go work in my breakfast nook. Sometimes I like to work in my breakfast nook because I get a lot more light there and I'm surrounded by light, and it's just a different space in the house. When it comes to doing my podcast, I have a studio in my basement. And sometimes I get tired of just doing everything there. And so I'll come upstairs. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do my solo episodes upstairs and give myself a different look and feel. And it makes me feel different. So being able to shift your environment and find another place where you can work, or being able to go outside and take walks and give yourself a break to get some fresh air really can help. It can really help. And I advise you really trying that. And lastly, when I'm feeling stuck, I often look for inspiration from others. I really do. So whether it's listening to a podcast like this one, of course, reading or listening to an audio, I'm an audiobook kind of girl. So I'll listen to an audiobook, or following someone I admire on social media and seeing how others have overcome challenges can really reignite my motivation. And so I think sometimes we need to do that. Like, we can find inspiration in others. So if you're feeling unmotivated, find someone whose journey inspires you. Listen to their story, see how they push through, and use that as fuel for your own journey. Because that does help us a lot when we are able to, which is why I love doing this podcast and interviewing entrepreneurs. And when I tell you, this podcast really does motivate me, when I interview entrepreneurs who come on this show and they talk about their experience, they talk about their struggles and what they went through. And every time I talk to someone, I'm always motivated. And so for me, being able to do the podcast motivates me to continue. Because there are days when I don't want to get up, when I just feel like I don't want to do no episodes. But once I do them, I'm always so motivated afterwards, because I'm like, man, they really changed their lives. They really put one foot in front of the other one. They stayed course. They didn't falter, although they had all these adversities and they faced all these different struggles and they faced not feeling motivated, and they overcame it. And so a lot for me with the podcast, it really does help me stay motivated. So if you can surround yourself with someone who motivates you, or listen to someone whose story motivates you, that's very similar to yours, you'll be so surprised with how much you can accomplish and how motivated you'll be ready to just kind of like tackle your own things, simply because the person that you look up to or you admire has overcame it too. And it's okay to look at. It's not a comparison thing, right? It's not like I said before, how I was comparing my podcast to others. It's really more so about looking at their journey. It's the journey that inspires us, because at some point in their journey, we see ourselves. And that's what I love about interviewing people and listening to their journeys and their stories, because I see myself in other people's journeys. We relate to other people's stories. And so being able to listen to their stories and listen to their stories of triumph, or either listen to how they failed, but they got back up again and decided to say, this is not going to stop me. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to rework this thing. But this right here is where it's at, and I'm going to make it work. So I think that's important. So to recap, when you're feeling stuck, I want you to remember this. I want you to identify why you're feeling stuck. That's number one. Number two, I want you to focus on small wins, right? Focus on things that really matter. I want you to rely on your discipline and routine, not just motivation. 4, and I don't want you to be afraid to take a chance, to take a break right when you need it. And 5, I want you to change up your environment for a fresh perspective. And number 6 is to seek inspiration from others. Those are the 6 things I want you to do when you're feeling stuck and unmotivated. Now, I really hope these tips has helped you as much as they helped me. Trust me, they really helped me move past some really hard times with the podcast, and just some hard times that even what I'm doing right now, I'm implementing these 6 steps to help me move past my unstuck feeling, this stuck feeling that is. And remember that it's completely normal, though, to feel stuck sometimes. But with the right approach, you can get back on track and you can find your motivation again. So, guys, listen, thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I love my solo episodes as always. And if you find this helpful, don't forget to share it with someone who might need a little extra motivation too today. And as always, if you enjoy this episode, please do leave us a review. Make sure you follow us on all social media because it really does help us get our podcast out to other people who might need this kind of help. And until next time, I want you guys to keep pushing forward, even when it feels tough, because you got this. I'll see you guys in the next episode.